reducing the cost per unit by increasing the output. Okay, the economies of scope is reducing the average total cost of a company's production decreases because you have a variety of products. So here, I think the economies of scope would be present, right? You now have many more types of shoes that you're producing, so you can have economies of scope. Could this be a platform for future acquisitions? That you now are 800, 900 million, and now you can launch and grow larger. Okay. Or with Mercury, with the acquisition of Mercury, Active Gear would be more vulnerable. Would they be more vulnerable to shoe giants than they had been? In other words, the shoe giants, you know, they talked about several shoe companies were large and they had a large market share. Does this help them with tackling fads or tackling the large companies or not?
So your question is?
So could they be more vulnerable to fads? Because Active Gear, if you remember, they were more steady performers, where fads, if you're more in the fad side of the business,
That's definitely a threat, for sure.
yeah, it could be more of a risk, right? And just the counterculture of Mercury's image, right? Mercury had a counterculture, edgy image. Does that complement the upscale image of Active Gear? So there's a lot to think about, and the case doesn't reach conclusions. What do you conclude? I mean, do you have enough facts to make a decision whether this is a good deal or not?
I think the management and operation would have to be structured specifically to preserve the uniqueness of the product and the brands. Otherwise, you could run the risk of losing them.
Really merging two different brands together.
You got to be very careful about what synergies you capitalize on, and which ones you avoid. You avoid mixing.
Yeah, I can see a situation where I think Tom spoke to it earlier, where you've got, over there, but where you are getting some synergies from manufacturing, because the Mercury designs are cheaper to build from manufacturer than their own. So the margin was
Right.
higher.
Higher margins.
Higher margin. And then that quality control aspect where you have, you're able to put those longer runs, that helps, I think, with the consolidation problem. When you've got of manufacturers in China, so you're making, you've got more work across fewer suppliers, or fewer, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the other side of that is, if I've got a duplication of quality control, I go from 4 factories to 2 factories. Do I need 2 quality control people in the same factory? So I see a real opportunity there for them to, on that side, I think, to create some synergy.
Okay.
Operationally.
Yeah, we just don't know enough. After spending so much time yesterday talking about culture, I'm undecided at the end of the case. I don't know if this is a good deal or not. I think we can come to some kind of range of value. The value is just one metric as to whether a deal is good. Valuation is one metric as to whether it's good or not. I don't have a conclusion as to whether or not this is a good deal or not.
And I think just thinking about this anecdotally from reading the material, that Mercury's culture may already be in a challenged place, right? Because their founder spent 35 years running that company. They were sold to West Coast Fashions in 2003, and now they're for sale again in 2006. So I do think there's probably some social issues within that company it could be an opportunity to address them the right way, or you might not be able to turn that culture around.
Right. And is that company, despite it being around since, what was it, 1971 or something like that, it had built its business on what could be just faddish, right? It could be a fad that goes out. Extreme sports, we really don't know much about it now, right? 10 years later. So,
Although the 2017 World BMX Championship will be held at Rock Hill.
advertisement here.
And if you'd like to see a pair of shoes, there's a Mercury shoe right there.
Is there truly a Mercury company?
There is indeed.
Well, I know this is a hypothetical, but I'm not surprised. So, I think we've touched on a lot of these. We don't have conclusions. I really don't have conclusions because we don't know enough about the cultural side. There's just a lot to think through, but you now have some tools, and we're actually going to do one final exercise before we wrap up today, actually quantifying a synergy. Okay, I want to give you that experience, and then we'll call it a day, and get the real fun part tomorrow with David first. So, let's see here.
Oh, hey, I've got a question.
Yes.
We said in the triangulation exercise that the business is maybe worth $375 million.
Yep.
something like that. So how are they planning to finance that? Because the balance sheet of AGI is not particularly strong, and they got about $50 million in cash, but to pay $375. I mean, Mercury's got a stronger balance sheet, but it's where's the money coming from?
Very good point. And the case doesn't address the financing of it. What are possibilities?
I mean, I don't know if either of these are public companies or
Private.
They're both private.
Private.
They'd have to, I mean, they could borrow some money certainly, but he said he also wanted to keep his debt 20%, right?
The goal is 20% debt to capital.
Yeah, so he's gonna raise capital. Yes. I don't know, that's what.
How much cash did AGI have on its
About
books?
54 million.
4 million?
And Mercury at 10. So it's only 64 million between the two of them, and they paid 375 for the business, so
Yeah.
it's a little
The
short.
number is pretty large. It's going to be it's definitely going to alter. I mean, really, could you actually acquire this at 20% debt to capital? Where are you getting the equity and how expensive is that equity? So that brings in all the CFO type questions that you need to be thinking about. If you look in the back of your book, there should be 2 examples. Okay. You see an example of valuing cost savings and asset reduction synergies. And then on the same page, it should be at the very end of your day 2. Tell me if you find it. Do you all see it in the back of your book? It's one page, it's got 2 paragraphs on it. It should be in the back of, it should be in your day 2. Okay, look back in day 1. Maybe they put it in day 1. I don't think they would. There it is. Where is that? It's at the end of the action. It's at the back of the printout of the presentation. Y'all see that? Okay, I want us to go through example 1 here as we wrap up the day. And the worksheet to that is right behind it. Exhibit 1 is going to give you the framework of how to fill that in. You're calculating cost synergies. This is not Mercury, this is another example. Okay? And don't go to the answer key, which is further back. The answer key is in the book. I'm walking around to make sure you're not looking at the answer key, Tom. But you have the framework immediately behind. The framework is, it'll say Exhibit 1, and it's just a blank table. It has just 3 numbers inputted in it. That's where I want you to fill it in. Work with your team on this. So the goal is you're trying to determine internal rate of return. We can stop at just net present value. What's the net present value of the cost savings? Okay?
When it says pre. Is that 0? Where it says pre-tax cost? In the first year, I guess it's 0 less.
Assuming
Yeah.
100.
So let's calculate that out at 2%, right?
Yeah, so it'd be 102 million.
Compound there. On the next number.
Yeah,
You got it, you got it.
yeah.
Okay. What's the next number?
102,040,000. What does it sound like?
It should be more than that, because the first year.
$104,040,000, sorry. Yep. Expected inflation rate is 2%.
Go down to year 2, 3, 4, 4%.
Okay, now let's just do this one. Growth rate. What's it giving to us? Growth rate is 2%. Discount rate is 6%. So you get 1 or 2 or 4. So you know the word you can. 104, 040. These are millions. 106, 120. 108, 440. From year to year, you 2 million more. Oh, it's just in the, that's just, yeah.
Yeah, I was just.
So you calculate the tax rate then? That's Is that anything you take out, that's pre-tax cost? So.
What's that?
You already just calculate the tax rate. You gotta add that in. Is that relevant to this?
What about the next 3 lines? The growth rate, the discount rate, the ongoing investment? What will we do with those?
They put that in your, so you got the anticipated inflation rate, growth rate.
He's giving it to us at 2%. three.
Carry them across.
Growth rate, it's,
Get the growth 2%.
year one,
This is for the terminal value.
would you start at year zero, first rate year one? Start at year zero, the growth rate starts at 50, so it'd just be 1.02. So 2% really starting year one. What would it be? What do you do? Growth rate just gets raised to about of the use of the contract. Like, see how roughly to discount it back. No, not discount. It's the 50